Could you still hear me when I was sharing?
Yes.
Nope, I could.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, I couldn't. Kristy, do you want to go ahead and try it one more time?
Yeah, so if I do share desktop, right?
Yep.
I see it.
Okay, and I just can't see you guys now. That's okay, right?
Yeah, then we can make faces at you.
Yeah, great. That's right, I can't see it. Go for it.
Well, it'll just be recorded. It'll be highlighted in the live stream.
Am I frozen?
And then will the
No.
YouTube link go on that one slide once? No?
I'm pulling that link right now and it'll be in chat in just a moment.
See, when I go back to my other
Okay.
screen, then I can't hear you guys at all. When I'm over here, I can't hear anybody.
Right now, you can't hear us?
Oh, wait, now I can.
We're really just playing a game called Be Quiet When She Starts Screen Sharing.
Everybody freeze. Act like you're frozen.
Great. All right, so now over here, now you can see my screen, right? We're okay?
We can see your screen.
Okay. Can I move this little icon so that I can see the rest of my screen? This won't move over.
Is it your menu bar?
Yeah.
There's probably on the bottom of your menu bar a little curved arrow that'll flip where it is.
I got it. Thank you. I'm used to Google Meet. Now do you see my Google Slides or my screen?
So right now we see that you have Zoom open and then you have Google Slides behind it.
Okay, so.
Yeah, on a Chromebook, it does run just a little bit different. So you'll want to ignore us. Let Tracy take care of the moderation and she'll tell you when there's something important. She's really awesome at moderating and running it just like this. It feels funny, but when your numbers start hitting over 50, which congrats, you're over 50, then you'll feel confident because you're just talking to your slides.
Perfect, it's like nobody's there.
Oh, now I realize why everyone's telling us whether they would have a pet dinosaur. This is starting off interesting. Okay. You're
Well,
listening.
I was jumping back and forth between screens, so that probably didn't help. There. Is my camera off?
Yeah.
Wonder how I turn that on. The button that says start video.
You got it.
Try it. See what happens. Oh, look, there you are.
Well,
Pizza cake.
Kristy, you have about 2 minutes before your session starts to continue playing around. We are live on YouTube. And Tracy, the link is in the chat. Otherwise, I can throw it in the chat one more time.
Nope. Got it.
Awesome. Thank you. And then as soon as you make your first comment, Tracy, I'll make you a moderator on the channel so that you get a nice little gear. And then once we hit our time, we'll probably hear a couple inspirational words from Mr. Beaverson and then get started.
And when you said make a comment
On the
What do
YouTube
you
live
mean?
chat.
If you just want to say
Got it.
hi, I'm Tracy, I'm
Okay.
your mod, something like that.
Hold on, there we go.
Kristy, are you still there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh yeah, perfect.
Okay.
It's
try
2 o'clock, everybody. Welcome. I hadn't been prepped to try to say anything inspirational. I'm not going to say anything inspirational because I don't have to. You are here at 2 o'clock with Kristy Ardinger, is a teacher that I've gotten the opportunity to work with over the last year and a half. She teaches in Edina Public Schools. She is a classroom practitioner right now, live, going through all of this with you, just like everybody else is. And she's one that I have had the great opportunity to work with a number of different times and is an incredible teacher. I love walking into her room and feeling the sense of community that is there. And so I sort of bugged her and said, would you mind sharing some of the things that you're doing to continue to maintain that wonderful relationship that you developed in your classroom? And she said yes. And then on Friday, we kicked things off by closing out the first room by having 300 people show up. And then she said, what did you make me do? And I said, I didn't make you do anything. I just amplify the voices of the people that I admire. So get ready for a great hour with Miss Ardinger and the moderator. I'm kind of fond of the moderator too. She's my wife, so be nice to the moderator as well.
All right. Well, thank you. I don't know that I can back that all up, but it'd be fun. And I'm not used to, I'm more of a, it's weird to talk to a computer where I can't see any of you guys because I have, a real fancy Chromebook here anyway, so I can't even see you. So I'm just talking to myself in the computer here. And then Tracy, did you want to introduce yourself? I'm looking over at my other screen because I have another computer. So it's I'm looking towards you, but I should really be looking forward.
No worries. Sure. My name is Tracy Beaverson, and I'm here to help Kristy out. I will be in charge of the chat and jumping in and just sharing some of your questions as we go. Please just remember to keep your video off and your voice off so that Kristy can do her stuff. And afterwards, if your questions weren't answered or if you have more you want to know, you can meet us over in the lounge or you can rewatch it later. All you, Kristy.
All right. So the class I'm going to present a little bit about Flipgrid today and different ideas that I've used in my classroom with my students. And then since I think we're all trying to figure out a different way of connecting with our kids, now that we are not in the classroom, I've found that Flipgrid's a fun way that I can get to know kids in a little bit different way. And it gives them a little bit more voice rather than just our Schoology chats that we're doing. So I am a 3rd and 4th grade teacher in Edina. Back next year. So that's a little bit about me. And as Tracy already said too, please keep your audio muted, and then you can have your camera on or off. It's totally up to you. I can't see you. So, and you can use the chat to ask a question or respond to anything. We'll have a Google Meet after if anybody has any other questions or if there's anything that I don't cover while I'm doing this. And all of the resources are linked here, which the link again, here's the bit.ly up at the top. Put a +1 in the chat box if you've used Flipgrid before. And then now I have to look at the other screen, so that's why I'm not looking at the screen.
I can help you out with that too.
Oh, thanks. It looks like a lot of people have. And also for those who are watching later, thank you for bearing with me. All right, looks like a lot, right? So it's just, Flipgrid's a video discussion platform, and it just lets your students, it gives them all their own voice, and it gives them the creativity to kind of share their thinking in different ways. So when you're getting started, setting up a Flipgrid is really quick. So I'm going to show you how to set one up quickly. And if you have more questions on that later, I've got links on how to do this. But all you need to do is go out to flipgrid.com and log in. So these are the grids that I've already had. So thinking back, if you're kind of going between, when you go into Flipgrid, you have grids and you have topics. So these are my grids. So I kind of think of these as my classroom. And then the topics are the different activities or the different lessons that you want to do. So if I want to make a new grid, you just click on this red button that says add new grid. You give it a name. And when I use the school, when I do this with my students, I use the school email. So then when you click on that one, you're going to put in the domain for your school district so that you're not opening it up to just anybody. The one that I used for today, I did public so that anybody who's in this class at any point can join in and look at the activities now or later. So if you're not watching live, they'll still be there that you can go in and check it out. And then down here, you can make your own code to give to your students. You can link this anywhere too, but it's nice to have a code sometimes that's easy for your students to remember and to get in if you don't always have it linked. And then you click next. When you make it public, they're going to ask you a couple more questions. Do you want a password? I'm not going to have a password on there today, just because we're using it on here. And then next, and it's that easy. Now you've made your grid. So when you look, you'll see here's your grid. And when you make a new grid, they already have one activity for you that's already loaded that you can use right away with your students. So I kind of went through these slides here, making a grid. But now I'm going to talk a little bit about how you can customize that. So in here right now, they'll pick an image for you. So you can change your grid. The little pencil, the edit button, gives you many different, oops, I'm a little too far in. Here's where you can personalize it. So you can upload your own pictures to have, so you could have your own background. So if you had a Bitmoji of yourself or something, or if it was your science class, you could make the background match what you want it to do. They also have some different options listed for you down below if you don't want to use their choice or if you don't want to come up with your own. So you just update the grid, and you can, in here, you can also give some different, you can add different people to it. If you want somebody else to have rights to yours. I know one of my grids, there are two of us who team teach together. She also has a 3rd and 4th grade classroom. So we have a shared grid where our students go in together. So she is my co-pilot on that one. That means we both have editing rights. So there's your grid. It's that easy to make a grid. Now, if you think about topics, those are the lessons that you're going to have. So I'm going to go into this one for today. This is the one that I created for us to play around in. Here is it. If you want, right here, if you type in this, you can have access to this code. So I'll leave it up here for a second. And then I think, can we put it in the chat too?
Yes, we can.
And so those of you watching later, you can access, like I said before too, you can access this later. The other thing that's great, right here, if you click on this, it will make a QR code for you. So this is great to use in your classroom for students, because if they are walking around with their Chromebook or their iPad, they can easily scan into to get into your Flipgrid. It's great for parents too when you're doing things at open house. I know right now it doesn't really work, but you can put these on kids' lockers. So if parents are waiting in the hall, they can scan this and they can see their kids doing different activities. All right, so let me go into here. So now that we have a topic, you have, I have one in there that we'll talk about later, but when you're in here, you've got your editing again. So now this is kind of like your activity that you're gonna do. So you can come up with a title. In here, you can put links if you have, if you made a video that you want your kids to watch or some instructions, you could put that link in there so they have all of that. Recording time, you have up to 10 minutes. With a lot of students, I like to limit it because once you start getting 30 kids, they start to add up pretty quickly. So thinking about what it is, the activity you're doing can definitely make a difference on what the time you want. This button right here, this video moderation, if you have students, if you're doing an activity where you know that maybe some of your students are a little more shy and maybe not apt to have their video out there for everybody to watch, if you turn this you don't need everybody to see.
Kristy,
Yep.
I lost you for a second. Probably the last two steps.
Okay. Do you want me to go back? Like just up here, should I go back out to my grids?
I just think just the last two steps.
It's when you were.
And I will mute, sorry.
No, that's okay. I know, like I said, I'm just on a Chromebook and my internet, sometimes I freeze. So let me go back to the pencil. When you are in your topic or your activity, here's your title. Here's where you can put the links again. The two things I was just talking about are timing. So you can set how long you want your kids to have to be able to record. What is posted. So if you have something where you know the kids if you have an activity where maybe they're supposed to watch a movie or read a book and then make responses, you can put the link right here so that they have everything all together. The other thing, you can set when you want a Flipgrid to be live. So when you click on here, you could say, I only want this to be between this date and this date. So if you click that, so now, oops. Let's try it again. I turned it off. Now it's available now, and then it will run through the 7th. And so now this is the only time that your Flipgrid will be active. You can still see it, but you can't, it will be hidden. You can see it, other people can't see it. And then down students can see how many kids have watched a certain video. So that one I tend to turn off. Sticky notes, they can leave a little sticky note in their recording if they have something they want to tell you or if they want something they want to share. The other thing that I usually turn off is this likes button, just because if you have some students who are only liking their friends and then other kids feel left out. So these are usually the two that I turned off. But I do leave this one on because this is where students can reply to other students. I know I'm going kind of fast. It's hard to talk like this. And where I'd rather have stop and ask questions, but
Yeah.
So
Hey, Kristy, this is Sean.
Hi.
So one of the troubles for everybody is Kristy's actually presenting off of a Chromebook, and so one of the issues is your sound has been kind of cutting in and cutting out, which has
Okay.
made it a little bit of a challenge for people to follow along with, just because they haven't been able to hear all of the steps that you've been going through.
Which is frustrating.
Yeah, for sure, for everybody. So just a reminder that we're all making this up as we go, and we are going to continue to try to. We just muted everybody, so that should be one thing that will help.
Okay.
Once we have everybody muted, that should help. And then again, as a reminder for everybody, all of these sessions are being recorded and then will be available again shortly after this one. So if you're having some technical difficulties, you can jump out of the Zoom chat if you want, and you can watch over on the YouTube Live, or you can always come back to mndlsummit.org site and catch it at another time too. But we're going to keep plugging along because Kristy's done some amazing work in preparing for this, even though we're having some technical difficulties. I don't know if anybody has ever had any technical difficulties before. Anybody +1 in the chat if you've ever had a technical difficulty while trying to work in front of a group of people. Oh, you got a plus 1,000, +1. Oh yeah, you get lots of love and lots of support there. And added to all that, Kristy can't even see us because she's on that Chromebook. So she is plowing through this on a Chromebook. Yeah, so there we go. I just wanted to let everybody know that we know that this is cutting in and out, but that we're just going to keep plugging along.
Is it maybe if I'm not in Flipgrid, is it better if I'm just over here? I mean, it's harder.
Where's over here?
If I'm just on my slides.
Oh yeah, do your slides. You know what's great is do your slides, but put them in present mode so people can actually see. Okay. And then you can just sort of talk through the steps there. That's a pretty good way to do it.
Then maybe it won't freeze as much, or maybe you can hear me better.
Yeah, we'll see how this goes.
All right. Well, I know it's not that that my voice isn't projecting. I know I've got that going for me.
Yeah, and then Kathy asked just quickly if you can turn the captions on. So if you want to zip down, you see where on your presenter bar. Yep, go ahead. And that should actually help out.
Oh, there we go. Look at that. I just have to talk slow enough that it can actually get what I'm saying. All right. Well, okay, I'll pick it back up. I'll go off of my slides, and then maybe I will do some pausing so then we can go over into Flipgrid to play a little bit, and then go back and forth and try it that way. So sorry that the sound isn't working, but thank you for being patient, and thanks for the caption idea. Okay, so I was on customizing your topic or your grid, your topic, which is like your activities. So once you have your activities, you can send it out to your students, and then they can participate. So I'll go through these and show you. So here are some of them that I've done with my students. So they start to add up over on kind of in your window. And then the students will just click on the one that they are going to participate in. Oops, wrong direction. Where did I go? Oh, here we go. You can make. Here are some of the examples that I did with my students while we've done distance learning. Weekend News has been a fun one where I'll ask the students to go in and ask. This was, I felt like a really great way that I got to know more about parents and siblings. One student was really clever. He told me that everyone in his family was too busy to talk to him. So he would turn his computer, he would ask the questions, he would pause, he would run to a different spot in his room, turn his computer and have a hat on, and then he would interview himself. So he was being the presenter and the interviewee, which was kind of cute. We've done 2 truths and a lie. And then the students have to go back in and guess what the lie is, and they're supposed to watch. And then this week in morning meeting, the kids are going to share what their real lie was. And this one was fun because we asked some of our specialists to participate too. So the kids got to see some of the other teachers that, you know, I feel like we're having a harder time connecting with right now in distance learning. Show and tell. These are the things in your classroom when, you know, kids have so many things they want to show you. And I feel like in distance learning right now too, the kids have, you know, they want to show you their pet and their favorite stuffed animal and things like that. So we've done a couple show and tell where they just find different things in their house and they get to highlight that. And then the other thing that's great too is you can use Flipgrid to share other projects. So this was something we did earlier in the year, and the students created a how-to story. They used Adobe Spark to make the story, and then they downloaded their Adobe Spark onto their Chromebook, and then they uploaded their video into Flipgrid. So when you're in Flipgrid, you can either record live or you can upload a video that you've already made. So that was a good way, just different ideas for using Flipgrid now that we're distance learning. I talked about that one. This is what it looks like when the students have a, when they've made their response right here. And then once they watch somebody's video, this green icon will be at the bottom. All you have to do is click on that, and then they can leave comments to other kids. So you can see here, like Lucy had 3 different students respond to her. And then it starts to add more when you can't see more of them. So that's a fun way. That's how you can see who's responding. And I gave students, I've partnered them up so they have certain kids that they should be responding on, so that I was trying to make sure everybody was getting equal responses. All right, that was our Flipgrid, which apparently is not working great when I switch over to that. But if you want to play around on some of these, this next one's pretty fun. The Flipgrid Shorts. So when you log into Flipgrid, there's a new button now up at the top. There's an for the educators, there's a button that says Shorts. So what the shorts are you can create videos. It's almost like using a screencast that you can share beyond Flipgrid, and you still get all of those Flipgrid tools. So you can create videos for your students and then upload them into different platforms like Schoology or Seesaw or your Google Classroom, whatever you're using to share your teaching. So here was an example. I just recorded a math lesson. Let's see if it works. In math, we have been working on straight lines and curves. So today's lesson, you're going to make a shape that has 4 lines and 3 curves. So if I were to make that, here's my shape. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you can download them. You can put them anywhere you want to use them. So that's a great tool for teachers right now. You could do different morning messages for students using the shorts. The math lessons were great. You can either have a white background or a black background. You can draw right on it. You can add text. You get up to 10 minutes on those. So you can add, you have a little bit more time to make a lesson that I teach 2nd grade math, so 10 minutes is plenty for the lessons I'm working on right now. And then you can share those links and upload them to other programs. So how you make a short, you go to Shorts, then you just record your short. And let's see if I can try. I'll try it when I go over there. If you're in Flipgrid, it's this button right here that says Shorts. record a short. And here it is. Now I can actually see myself. This button right here, that is your either whiteboard or you can have a blackboard and then you can draw on it. I'll use my finger and see if it works. And then when you're recording, you could either, like I already had that on there, or I could draw on the screen while it's recording, and then you can pause. Here's clear the screen, and then you can make your next lesson or your next slide. You could teach your next thing on here. So the shorts are pretty great for using as a teaching tool for teachers. I'm gonna hope that the sound came through on that when I switched over there. All right, next one, Flipmoji Scenes. This one is super fun. So you can use the camera tools to create scenes and backgrounds. So I thought this was a fun one. I found this one on Twitter, and it was just somebody who was talking with her kids and they had a whole space scene in the background. This one, let's see if I can get it to work.
As you can see, I'm out here in the jungle and I'm being careful for wild creatures. I hear one now. He's coming. Oh no, he's gonna get me. Oh, here he comes. He got me.
So these, I think, are a great way to play around and connect with your kids and have a lot of different fun. So there's a how-to video here that will go through all of the steps kind of to show you how to make your own. Some of the ideas that I found when I was just doing hashtag Flipmoji background or Flipmoji scenes on Twitter. Book reviews. Students could highlight the setting in a book and give their book review with their whole setting in the background. The morning messages are really fun to make different, you could use the shorts. You can make these backgrounds when you're in the shorts also. And then you can save that video and load them into different screens. Students could read a story they wrote. This was really fun. There was a Flipmoji scene challenge. I found this one out just while I was playing. So it gives you some different ideas of what other people have done. This topic right now is frozen. So it means that you can view it, but nobody else can add to these or comment on these. But this would be a great way to introduce new units. You could, like if you're doing a unit on planets, you could have a cool space background. So here's kind of the tools that the camera tools that you'll need to know about. The first thing, the blackboard or the whiteboard, when you click on that one, when I was in the shorts, I was showing that too. So that if you just want a plain background, I found it was easier to have this clicked first when I started adding all of my stickers, because you were able to, I could see it a little bit better and I wasn't distracted by my own face in the screen. So let's see, I'm going to give it a try over here. So if you want to play later, I opened up this and I was sharing this topic. So anybody could get into here and try to make their own. So to make your own, you would just click on the plus, log in. Move this stuff out of the way.
There you are again.
Right, again, I'm back. Okay, so if you turn on the background, this was a little bit easier, like I said, to play with just because you're not distracted by you. So if you want to go underwater, maybe you want a shark. And there's a lot more emojis in here than I realized. You can put your shark. I was spending so much time on this. I don't know that they had seaweed, but they did have some weeds or grass. Maybe it was grass. Plants. Sometimes you just have to keep playing until you, well, leaf. There we go. And then you can just start building onto here. Now, when you want you to be back in it, you'll just go back up to this and you're going to click on clear board. So now you've got the shapes in there. And then what you can do as well is if you are in sticker, kids, when you make your video, you can have it lined up perfectly. I tend to move a lot, so it gets a little tricky sometimes. Then you just record your video. Hello, everybody. I am busy underwater today. And then next. Hello, everybody. I am busy underwater today. And you can take your selfie. Try to smile in yours. Apparently I didn't. Submit it. And now you can download these. This is where I was saying before, you could download and you could share this in different programs. And then complete. And now you can I'm not talking right now, so hopefully it looks like I'm frozen.
You were frozen for just a second, and when you went back to slides, your closed captioning stopped.
Okay.
If you want to put that on again.
Where did that go?
And someone in the chat wrote too that those shorts are great for mini lessons. So lots of great ideas to use any of these tools and resources and ideas.
Hey, Kristy, if you're looking for the closed caption on slides, press the green, or in the green box, there's a little up arrow where it shows the ID number. Press that up arrow and it'll flip the menu bar.
Oh, is it back? I think I'm freezing on and off here. Thank you for being patient. Okay, flip hunts. Flip hunts are like a virtual scavenger hunt for students. Let me move this to the top. Example that I did when the kids were all in the classroom, they had to find different examples of nonfiction text features. So I gave them a Google Doc that had what they had to find, and there were points. I had a point system, so they could challenge themselves on how many points they wanted to get. So the first one was just read the title of a nonfiction book. And so each time they did it, they had to say hashtag and then whatever it was. So the first activity was find a title. So they had to say like hashtag title, and then they had to read their title. So here's a short example. And I chose this one because I love her Australian accent.
I read the article Seal Pup Mystery by Lynn Alexander. Hashtag expository. I think it's expository because this author is telling a lot about the seal pup. Hashtag text features. Some of the text features are the title, the and the captions. Hashtag organization. The organization here is the title, the captions, and the paragraphs. Hashtag purpose. I think the author's purpose to write this is to tell about seal pups and why they should be in the river and how they can get lost very easily. Hashtag I'm done.
All right. Oh, good. The closed caption stayed on. And one thing that's been great about distance learning, I think, at least I know, I find using Flipgrid and things like this, it's a lot quieter. I don't have all that classroom noise in the background, except for the siblings. But so it's been easier to hear some of these from the kids. So there's a positive, right? Some of the ideas for Flip Hunt, I saw, again, if you just start Googling and looking on Twitter, there's so many that come up, but foreign language. So for, you could have students practice using their, different descriptive words or colors or naming things in their house, the reading, and this will bring you out to the Google Doc that I used that I gave to the students for them to go out, and it had all the pieces. And math, there were lots of different ways. Geometry right now would be a great one too in the house. If you're looking for shapes, students, you can make it as easy or as hard as you want for all grade levels here. But when the kids take a picture of something or video themselves, they can actually draw on it a little bit too. So if they're finding cubes or something, they could find different examples. Science, this one, there was an example for a skeletal system, but this one was more interactive. So you had to do different things with your own self instead of just pointing to yourself. They had different activities for you to do. And then here's a whole list of ideas for Flip Hunt. So these are kind of a fun way to keep your kids engaged. And right now there's so many different things you could do in their own houses to have them show you things that they like. Scavenger hunts are always fun. Another great activity on Flipgrid are grid pails. So grid pails are a great way that you can connect with people all around the world. When you go—
Hey, Kristy.
Yep.
Can I jump in for 1 second?
Yeah.
Your slides are still on 5 flip hunts. And so I don't know if our screen froze or.
Let's try.
There you go.
All right. Did you see this one? This one, I suppose you don't need to see because this was the example I showed. So the only thing that you didn't get to see was this. This is where the links will be. Sorry. See, those of you
No worries. Thank you.
Anybody who's watching this later is actually going to get, it's going to work better for them because they're going to realize I was all over the place. Thank you for those of you watching live. So this was the slide that I was just talking about with different ideas. Here's number 6 now, grid pails. So when you go to Flipgrid, I forget which one up at the top, here is where grid pails are linked. So you have a couple options when you're in here. I'm going to run from here so that you can, hopefully I see it. When you click on grid pails, you can search. These little green dots mean that these are people who are connected on Flipgrid all around the world. So you can search by a location, you could search by grades, or you could search by a subject. So say you're looking for somebody to connect, they have it broken down for elementary. So I think it's ages 5 to 10 is what's set up for elementary. Here was one, it was middle school. So it was ages 11 through 13. And this person said, here are my ages that I'm willing to, or that I'm teaching. It can be any subject. And then you send an invite, and then it will contact you. And then you have an option of setting something up with a different teacher from anywhere in the world. And then your students can interact back and forth with each other. And one of the ways we did that, if you haven't done the global read aloud, it happens every fall. I would look that up. It's Pernille Rip, I believe is her name. And she does amazing things with the global read aloud every year. And we participated in an online Flipgrid with another class from, I'm horrible, I cannot remember where they were from right now, but I'll show you in my grids. We've done it 2 years. So the first activity we did is we just had the kids connect with each other. So they went in here and then they had to introduce themselves in 90 seconds or less. So when they were on here, my class was interacting with kids from our partner class. Then we set up chapters 1 through 8. And then we had specific things that we wanted them to talk about. So they had to share something they learned about Amal, something they learned about her town, and then a question they have. And so then the students could go in at any time and then record their video, and then they could get video back from the other students, their grid pals. So this is a really great way to connect with people anywhere around the world. Oops, sorry. And I mean, there are so many people who are out there. All right, the last one is the Disco Library. So the Disco Library is a whole collection of activities that are already put together for you, and you do not have to create them. So you can search through hundreds of activities, and you can search by level or a topic. And then once you've found one, you can have it put right into your grid.
The first
Ones
time I
otherwise-
heard disco library, it just made me think of a disco ball. I have no idea why.
Well, I tried to find a picture of a disco ball to put on here, but I couldn't find any good ones. It does make me think of that. These are, so if you click for learning from home, there is tons of ideas of collections that people have already created that you can take and use. So if your audience, you can click on your audience, elementary, and let's see, maybe we want a social studies activity or science. Oh, nothing came up, so that was a bad one to pick. I know there was language arts. So you can look through these that are already made. Here's another text features flip hunt. Here, retell a story. So if you like the activity, you can look at the activity here. And then right here, there's a button that says add this topic. So all you have to do is decide where you want to put it in your grids. And then it goes right into your, I'll put it in there. I add it. So now it pops up into my grid, and then I can change, I can edit what it says here to match what I want it to say. So Disco Library is a great place to go find things that are already created for you. And the ones that are really fun, Breakout EDU. This one, if you click on, of course, now I can't see it, even though I know it's here. Well, it's usually right there. There it is. Oh, Breakout EDU. They have all kinds of activities already set up for you that your students can go out and you could set up as like a family activity for them to do. We were trying the pet one the other day, and I couldn't solve it. I got through like 2 rounds, but these are great and just really fun activities to keep your students engaged. The Wonderopolis is really fun too, if you haven't looked at those. And then weekly selects, they usually have a topic of the week. And let me move that back to the top. Topic of the week, and then it gives you kind of a theme. So those are just already created for you. And then I put some different ideas and resources of other ways that you could use. These are just different people that I have found that I follow or that I like using their ideas. So those are linked right there. And I'm done a little early because I talk fast, but I don't know how much you actually got to hear versus how much was frozen. So thank you to anybody who was watching live or anybody who's watching later. Are there a couple questions in there that I can answer before we end? I don't know that I can, wonder if I stop sharing, if I can actually get to Zoom.
Hey, Tracy, right now you are muted. It looks like you're having a great discussion with us. But
I was giving Kristy lots of props. Thank you. So
I was going to say, as she keeps having a conversation with herself, I want to give Kristy some props for persevering through a technology versus infrastructure piece. I mean, this is the stuff that we deal with every day in schools and is only magnified when we are all remote working.
Yeah.
And then when we add in this piece of, one of the scariest things people can do is actually present to peers. Like our anxiety is completely fine when they're littles, but when they are our own ages and professional level, it's just more nerve-wracking.
And then especially when you can't, hear yourself.
Yeah, you can't hear, can't see, can't do anything. This session is recorded. The technical shuffle is also recorded there also. So if you go back to the YouTube channel, hoping to pick up what Kristy was saying, it may be a little bit better, but it's probably going to be about the same. But that's okay because Kristy was able to share this great resource and also just spark interest around Flipgrid. Throughout the chat, I saw so much interest from different age ranges. And Flipgrid is kind of one of those companies that
everything I was saying to myself.
Flipgrid is kind of one of those companies that puts out tons of educator resources. So if you go to their website, you can find so much information there, along with huge communities on Facebook and on Twitter and just across every social media platform. And their response rate when you ask them questions is amazing.
Yes.
Plus, they're still based in Minnesota, even though they're Microsoft owned.
Which is, here using my Chromebook is probably the. Well, see, now I've just put in a plug for a better computer.
Yes.
Right. Someone needs to hear that.
Yeah. And I'm happy to answer questions. I mean, if anybody has questions, they can email too. That shouldn't freeze.
Well,
No.
and neither will the Flipgrid. So one of the best parts about this session is it highlights a great tool that we are using in the Minnesota Digital Learning Summit, Distance Learning Summit, excuse me, which is Flipgrid for the asynchronous version of conversation. So jump on Flipgrid, ask those questions, and let the knowledge of the room also reply. Kristy will be able to contribute to some of those along with a number of people on the team, but answer other people's questions. We have people in here that are really proficient in Flipgrid also.
Yes. Is there a Google Meet Hangout? That works great on my Chromebook, by the way.
I guess I didn't read my notes for today. There are no after sessions today.
Okay.
But like you said, Flipgrid, we can answer those questions or email or
Yes.
Flipgrid resources. So if people have questions, they can definitely reach out to different places and different resources. You got lots of love and lots of thank you. Looks very motivating, a lot of fun ideas, lots of things that they want to now go do and practice and try out.
And that's what's great about Flipgrid is just playing on it. So it's harder to do a class like this because it's more fun to play when you're just kind of barreling through. Thank you for your help. Thank you guys for being patient.
That's real life teaching.
It sure is.
Okay, so
and basically I was saying everything Dave was saying.
Here we go. We're on the same wavelength. That's how this is supposed to work. That, or I'm an excellent lip reader. One or the other.
You are.
We'll go with that one.
Perfect.
Kelsey, the resources. Kristy, are you able to link your resources on your presenters page?
Oh yeah, they're all there.
Okay, perfect. So if you head over to the MNDL Summit website, mndlsummit.org, you can find
okay.
the schedule, and you're able to find, by clicking into the schedule, all of the resources shared from almost all of the presenters. Everyone's been pretty open to that.
Yeah, I share. Is it?
It's the Google Doc with the
Yep.
session information.
And it's this one, presenter information, and I put the slide decks here, and then everything else that I use too is all on the second.
Amazing.
So it's all there. So when I froze, now you can just go read it.
There you go. Okay,
I mean,
well,
that's the same.
you can come here for the comedy, especially the last chunk when I started chiming in, and there we go. Katie, I'm going to go ahead and say you need to reach out to your district admins around anytime you have software or web services that you are using in your district. If it's not been prior approved, we really can't give you too many strong recommendations because every district handles it so differently. The one piece that I will chime in is since Flipgrid was purchased with by Microsoft, their levels of security have only gotten stronger and their attention to student privacy has only gotten stronger. But it's challenging to advise you on permission slips or not outside of your own district. But I'm sure there are people in your district who will be able to give you a great response to that question.
And when you when you set it up through the school and you set in the domains, it keeps it locked down. I mean, this one is.
Yeah, as long as your students have email addresses, it really does a beautiful job at setting that. And then someone at your school would be able to advise you what the domain is. Some school districts have like the staff email and the student email. So if you have any questions around how to set that up, Flipgrid is a very heavily used tool in K-12. So I'm sure there'll be some support there. Tracy, thanks for making a wonderful mod. Kristy, thanks for sharing a wonderful session. And we hope we didn't scare you away too fast.
Well, thank you for session 1. Here we go.
Hey, you know what? This is going to be perfect. So everyone have a great one. I'm going to close out this room and come on back right at 3 o'clock for another wonderful session.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Tracy.
Awesome. Good job, Kristy.